There are some things that are just instinctual. Knowing you're the prey is one of them. Griffin Alexander crouched in the corner of his office with his eyes closed tight. Pulling his knees up to his chest, he tried to make as little sound as possible. Trying to slow his breathing, he began listening for it again. There it was. In the distance, he could hear it. The creature was ripping someone apart down the hall just outside the office where he now hid. The screams were horrible. Griffin cringed as they gurgled to a stop. He could tell by the increasing volume of the myriad of shouts and cries of terror that it was hunting him, and it was getting closer. He knew it wouldn't be long before it found him. After several terrifying moments with no sound at all, he realized his chance may have come. He timidly opened his eyes and looked around the room, lit only by the hallway light glowing through the mottled glass pane in the locked door, and sighed. At least the creature hadn't been hovering directly over him like it always seemed to do in nightmares or even B horror movies. He crept to the door and listened closely. Nothing was audible from the hallway, or as far as he could tell, from anywhere in that entire section of the ship. This was it, he thought. This was his only chance to get further away from his pursuer. His hand crept up to the control panel next to the door, and he placed his thumb over the scanner. A second later, he heard the lock mechanism click, and the door swung the slightest bit inward. The click had reverberated loudly in the silence that surrounded him, and his heart rate quickened. Taking a deep breath, he grasped the door handle and opened it far enough to peek out into the hallway. Only the emergency lights remained on to light his view. This was probably due to the damage the beast had caused as it chased him from the monitoring room adjacent to viewing room 2. It had ripped through several control panels lunging for him and short-circuited most of the surrounding systems and lighting. Griffin took his chance and exited the office, heading down corridor 4 away from the beast. Within a few moments, he came to the crossway where it connected with the larger expanse of corridor 1 and headed left towards the bridge. If he could get to the bridge, he could lock himself inside. It would be impossible for the beast to get through the blast doors if he could close them quick enough. Running as fast as he could in the dimly lit hallway, he ran past the mangled corpses of his former colleagues. He didn't recognize any of them, and he didn't slow his pace either. Behind him, a guttural scream came from somewhere close as he lurched, almost tripping. He turned as he ran and caught a glimpse of the horrid red-skinned beast running quickly after him. It was humanoid, but it ran on all fours, seething and spitting as it ran. Griffin kept running as fast as he could. He thought his heart would explode, but he was almost there, mere feet from the doorway to the bridge. He reached the doorway, grabbing the side of the opening and swinging himself around to the door operation panel, and quickly pressed the button that would activate the blast doors. The doors came to a loud crashing close within a second, and only a moment later, Griffin heard the creature slam into the doors on the other side. He slumped down against the solid doors, sighing. He closed his eyes and began to weep. He wiped his eyes. Something made him freeze, motionless. A low growl came from within the bridge, not far from where he sat. His eyes opened, and within an instant his view was filled with the horrific, mangled face of a creature identical to the one that had been chasing him. Its stinking breath almost made him gag before he could get out what he thought would be his last words. "Oh, God." Its sharp fangs and yellow eyes seemed to glow in the dim light of the bridge. The beast lunged at Griffin's throat, but never made it. He had closed his eyes in anticipation of his violent demise, but nothing had happened. He opened his eyes, and the beast was gone.
Oh, thank God.
His voice was shaky.
Now wake me up.
An electric charge ran through his skull as he awoke from his nightmare. He sat up in the examination chair and grasped at the device sitting atop his head, a device he himself had invented. It sat like a crown and was connected to 8 wires that ran to the monitoring room next door. He flung it to the floor and ran to the open doorway, exiting the room with incredible swiftness. He made a quick right turn and headed to the monitoring station that controlled the experiments for viewing rooms 2 and 3. The door slid open before him and he shouted,
"Did it work?"
before he had even entered the room. A man wearing a long white coat turned to him and smiled.
"See for yourself, Doctor,"
he said, gesturing into viewing room 3.
"Extraction was successful."
Dr. Griffin Alexander saw it immediately. The creature from his nightmare was throwing itself at the glass between them and howling in rage, scratching and clawing with all its fury, but it could not break through the reinforced glass and steel. Behind it, a door slid open and 4 soldiers dressed in black and carrying guns entered the room unnoticed. They immediately began shooting the beast with heavy tranquilizers. Within moments, the beast was on the floor unconscious. Griffin watched all of it in awe.
"It's about time my nightmares were good for something,"
he smiled at his co-worker.
"Let's see how our enemies like it."
Well, looks like we got it this time. But there's always another. You'll want to be here when the next one breaks loose. Follow us for more tales that'll give you the shivers. Sweet dreams if you can find them. I'll see you here next time on Dead Time Stories HQ.